She's quite pecky.
Is she?
What do you reckon?
This is the story of our lonely chicken Henrietta and how we set about trying to find her some friends. We inherited Henrietta, see what I'm doing there, and she'd been living on her own for 6 years before we got here.
So she was a very lonely chook. When we finally arrived and let her out of her coop, she used to waddle over the fields to the house every day and then stand outside our back door pecking at the window, looking mournful. I used to be able to hear her from bed in the morning and clucking away going, "Where are you? Where are you?" Mike used to lie awake at night fretting about her, and we decided we needed to do something.
Every morning she'd waddle across the field to our house, and it's a long way, and she's an old chicken, and she took her ages, like creakily waddling away, and then she'd sit outside our house, outside the kitchen door, and just stare in at us and kind of peck at the windows and just hang about. It was heartbreaking actually, because she was just on her own, and I don't think chickens are supposed to be on their own.
Flock animals.
Flock animals, absolutely.
And we decided we needed to do something and somehow find her some chums, but this wasn't going to be easy in lockdown.
And there's no way we could just go out and buy chickens, so we had to think of something else we could do.
We're Mike and Judy, and we're city dwellers originally. We're from London, and we moved here about 6 months ago. Lockdown was the spur that drove us. We suddenly realised how fabulous it was not hearing planes, because we lived pretty much under the flight path to Heathrow. No planes, no M4 traffic. We thought, let's make this permanent. So we upped sticks and left and came down here and bought a place which is pretty remote. It's a very different life down here, very rural. We're miles from anywhere. Our nearest neighbour lives about half a mile away, which isn't that far, I know, but it's a long way when you're used to being in a terraced house with neighbours right next door on either side.
The obvious answer to Henrietta's loneliness problem was just to get her some more chickens, but we were in lockdown and there was no way we could go out and buy chickens from a farm or anything. So we had to think of something else. The previous owners had told us that Henrietta liked playing with their little Jack Russell. They'd chase each other around, apparently. Henrietta would chase the dog would chase her back. They were best of friends, and we thought that might even be why Henrietta was sitting on the doorstep all the time, hoping to see the dog again. So we thought maybe we could get Henrietta to be friends with our Westie, Daisy, and solve the loneliness problem that way. But we were worried. Daisy has previous form. The first thing she did when we got her was run into the garden and bite the head off a toad. And she's been killing things ever since. Terriers are just terrible like that. Well, she is anyway, psychopath. But the previous owners said that Henrietta was a pretty feisty chicken, and he thought it would be fine, that they would get on. So we introduced them carefully. We kept Daisy on the lead, and we'd let them sniff each other or come around each other and not let Daisy get within snapping distance. And it seemed okay. Daisy didn't even seem that interested at first, and so we thought we'd let her off the lead. And at first things seemed to be going well. It looked like our plan would succeed and they would be friends. But that's not what happened.
Shush.
Daisy bit Henrietta.
She did.
And we had to separate them. And now Daisy...
Actually, she only got a mouthful of feathers, to be honest.
That's true, yeah. Luckily, I think chickens are sort of 90% feather, which is what saved her. But we've had to separate them. And now Daisy's sole purpose in life is to kill Henrietta.
It's true.
The whole dog-chicken thing started off so well, but it went terribly downhill.
eventually we came out of lockdown again and we decided to buy Henrietta some new chums. We'd been advised that when you introduce chickens to each other, you need to keep them separate for a few weeks. So since we only had the one coop, we had to build a pen, something that would keep them apart for a while they got used to each other. So we set about building a new pen for the girls. Obviously we didn't know what we were doing. We built this pen. It took us forever, but we were proud of it, weren't we?
We were.
There was one thing though that we'd forgotten, and this was that chickens can fly, and we'd only made it about 3 foot tall, so it's completely useless. But anyway, we finally managed to get a sort of separate area for them together. Looked a bit like a refugee camp, with using all bits and bobs that we had lying around, but it worked, and finally we'd got a new pen. So we went to pick up the chickens from a local breeder. We got 2 Marans, or Marans, we've no idea how you pronounce that. Brought them back, introduced them to Henrietta, and they immediately attacked her, particularly one who we then named Attila the hen. Get what we did there? And who was particularly feisty. So we separated them and kept them apart for quite a few weeks, and eventually let them in together. It worked out fine. There was a little bit of pecking order going on, and even though Henrietta's a large bird, she was at the bottom of the pecking order, clearly. But really, they were fine, and it worked out very well. And we think Henrietta appreciated having some company, because she stopped coming to see us. So it must have worked.
So there you are, happy ending. Henrietta's not lonely anymore. We've got more eggs than we know what to do with. We actually have to give them away to delivery drivers now because there are so many of them. Judy's often chasing the postman down the road saying, "Would you like some eggs?" It's just, but it's a joy to see actually that Henrietta's completely changed. She almost never comes to the house anymore and just hangs out with her chicken chums, and you see them sunbathing together or, wandering around. They're always trying to get in our barn and up to all sorts of mischief, and they just have it's really nice to see. So that's it. The story of Henrietta, the lonely chicken. Not lonely anymore.
Look what we've got, our very first eggs, yay! Although we're not sure, they're supposed to be dark brown if they come from our new Marans, or Marans, whatever you call them. But these look just like egg coloured, and we're wondering whether Henrietta, our 6-year-old chicken, has just suddenly come into post-menopausal roost or whatever, lay, and laid these eggs. Anyway, we don't know. So what we are going to do is eat them, but we both feel a bit weird about that, because I feel weird because, I don't know, it's like our children's babies. Is that really sick? And Mike feels weird because
they don't come from a shop.
They don't come from a shop. So anyway, we're going to eat them and we will see. But I don't know, I'm a bit squeamish about it.
We're a brand new channel, but we'll be bringing you loads more videos on our experiences of moving from the city to the country and our adventures in our new home, plus stories on all the animals we come across.
Like Barry, the poorly baby hedgehog we found, how he was nursed back to health and returned to his family with unexpected results.
Or these two tragic battery hens seeing grass for the first time, and how a little TLC brought them back to life.
If you want to see more, don't forget to click the red subscribe button below and then the notification bell so you'll be told when we've got a new video out.
Thanks for watching.